What's going on YouTube? We are back with another video. Today we're going to be adjusting the suspension on the car, so hopefully improving the fitment and the stance, and also changing the wheels just to make it look nicer. We're going to drop the car by 20 mil with some H&R springs and also some lowering links in the back where there's air suspension. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Now if you look at the stock fitment of the car in terms of the wheels, they're way too tucked into the arches. And also the gap above them, that arch gap, is just horrendous. I mean, I could probably get my head in there. I don't know why they do this from factory for cars like this, which are clearly, you know, meant for performance. But it is what it is. I mean, we can change that, so that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to put some H&R springs on the front, drop it by 20 mil. And then for the back, where there's air suspension from factory, you've got to install what's called lowering links or drop links. And those are basically two metal rods which adjust on a piece of thread, and they tell the sensors at the back, the lowering sensors, how low the car should sit when it adjusts itself. So yeah, this is normally something that I would try and do myself. You know, I like to DIY on my cars, but what it is I've just been so busy lately and I haven't got the right tools at the moment for the springs to mount them and take them off safely. So we've got a mobile mechanic on the way. He comes recommended. You know, he's done work on my brother's cars and other people that I know. So we're just waiting for him to turn up, and he's going to hopefully get it done for us in like an hour or two. Just save the hassle, and then at least we can move on to bigger things. So these are the links. Like I said, it's just a metal rod with a bit of thread that you can adjust up and down, and that will let the sensor know how low the car should sit when it's adjusting itself. Just make sure you have some copper grease in there to obviously stop it from rusting and to make it go on nicely. So yeah, that's those. And then we've got the H&R springs, 20 mil. Now you don't want to be skimping on stuff like suspension parts when it comes to a performance car. So H&R is obviously a top brand. They've been in the game for a lot of time, many years. Well-known products. So we know what we're doing is going to be long lasting. Let's try and get the springs out. There you go. Pretty standard. These will be shorter than the stock ones obviously, and they should just swap right in and out. Now when you lower a car, a lot of people think it's just for appearance. They think, oh, why would you lower a car? You're going to be scraping against the pavement and, you know, it's going to be awkward, blah, blah, blah. But it's not all aesthetic. There is some purpose behind it. Now what it is when you bring the center of gravity for a car down by lowering it, you're basically making it more planted. It's more secure, it's closer to the floor. So when you're taking a corner or when you're handling it, you know, turning that steering wheel quite sharply, you're going to feel the car is a lot more planted. It's going to feel a lot more grounded. So there's definitely some purpose to it. It's not just an aesthetic mod. So yeah, what you've got to do basically is pop the bonnet, and then you've got a couple of bolts there which are holding the strut in place. And then when you come down into the wheel well here, there's a few bolts, one there and a couple around the back as well, which you just need to loosen up, and then that whole assembly should come out. And once that comes out, then you should be able to take the spring off and put the new one on. So as you can see, we've taken off the suspension strut, and now the coil is going to be removed and the new one's going to be put on. Just going to show you how the spring is removed. So if we go inside the van, got a good setup in here. So the spring has been locked into a vise at the moment just to keep it secure while he's working on it. So this is a tool which you need to obviously compress the spring. That goes in there like that, and you wind it back. So as you can see, the spring's been removed now. This is the stock spring that comes on the car. So once those grips are on, you basically just compress them down. That brings the spring down, and then you just have to remove a couple of bolts from the actual strut itself. And that all comes off as one assembly. Would have been interesting to do this myself, but like I say, I've just been busy, haven't got the right tools. And sometimes you just got to leave it to someone else for the sake of convenience. So it is what it is. The new springs have just been put on. So this is obviously the passenger side. It's looking good. And it's just a reverse assembly. So we literally just go back under the wheel well, up top here, bolt it all up, secure it, and then do the other side. And that's pretty much it. Right guys, so the front suspension is done. We've got both springs on, the driver side and passenger side. Obviously the car is still jacked up, so you can't see the final result yet, but once the jacks are lowered, then we'll have a look at that. Now we're moving on to the back, where we're doing the lowering links. So as you can see just there behind the calipers and brake rotors, just zoom in a little bit, that's where the existing links are, the stock ones. If you take a look at the old links, that's how they look. Just rigid plastic, I think that is. It might be metal. And that's the new one next to it, so all you've got to do is just adjust that to the size that you want, and then put it back in place. Right guys, the job is complete. The car's been lowered, it's off the jack stands, and I'm really happy with the result. I think it looks a million miles better already. So let's take a look around and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Right, so look at that guys. It's made a world of a difference. The arch gap is pretty much non-existent now, and you can see the wheel is a lot more aligned with the actual arch itself, just making it look nice and flush, and everything's in proportion. If you look at it from this angle, you can see that it's poked out a little bit more, and we can always increase that with a spacer if we wanted to, but I think it looks pretty decent right now. And then if we head over to the back, again, nice and flush, just the right amount. Only a 5mm drop here, because from factory it wasn't too bad, so we didn't need to lower it too much, but I think it looks just right. Right guys, it's the next day. We couldn't get the wheels on yesterday just because the tyre shop closed, so we're going to do them today. Now this is the part that I've been waiting for, because I feel like wheels are a big modification. And if you ask me, stock wheels on a lot of performance cars are pretty boring. Personally, when I see a performance car and you've done all the mods and it's looking all nice, but the wheels are stock, it just doesn't cut it for me. Some people like the OEM look, which is the original look. I'm not a fan. I like to give it that personal touch, just because there's probably a lot of E63s out there, but how many of them have different wheels? Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like it really sets the car off. So we've gone with some flow forged Aluworks 10-spoke wheels, 9.5s for the rear, 8.5 for the front, which is basically wider rears. As it's a rear wheel drive car, it just gives it that aggressive stance. I have done a spray ceramic coating on them, so it should be good from anything between 6 to 8 months in terms of keeping them clean when it comes to like road dust and brake dust and road grime. Just makes it easier to clean them. So we've done that spray wax coating on them, and yeah, all that's left is to get them to the tire shop, slap them on the car, do a little cinematic, and then you'll know what they look like. So stay with me guys, let's go.
Loaded, what up? That's my Valentine.